He was just a tech assistant, until he uncovered $850 billion in stolen government funds. Shot, left for dead. But he didn't die. He lost his memory and his name. Somewhere in Lagos, a mysterious USB surfaced. Inside, secrets that could burn the presidency to the ground. A fearless journalist, a runaway political heir, and a deadly file so dangerous, people were killed just for reading it. Now they're racing against time. Because the truth isn't just buried, it's bleeding. And when it leaks, no one in power will be safe. Don't blink, don't scroll. Subscribe, like, and share, because what you're about to witness might just be the story they never wanted you to hear. The Lagos rain poured like it was trying to wash away sins. Thunder cracked as a man sprinted through the narrow back streets of Obalende. Blood soaked through his shirt, but he didn't stop. He couldn't. Chidi Okafor, once a rising tech genius and personal assistant to one of Nigeria's most powerful politicians, was now a marked man. He'd uncovered something deadly, a secret file hidden in encrypted folders on the governor's private server. A $850 billion slush fund, embezzled public funds, foreign accounts, signed death warrants, and he'd copied it all to a small USB drive, now burning in his pocket. His breath caught as he ducked into a dark alley behind a closed suya stand. The black Prado chasing him came to a screeching halt. Armed men in igbadas emerged, men who didn't ask questions before pulling triggers. Chidi ran again. A loud pop. Something hot seared through his shoulder. He stumbled, dropped the drive near a trash pile, and collapsed. He woke up days later in a small clinic on the outskirts of Ajege. The nurse leaned over him. "What's your name, brother?" Silence. His head throbbed, his mind blank. Not even his name remained. "We go call you Musa," she said kindly. "Till memory return." Across town, Honorable Bala Danladi, the godfather of Lagos politics and Chidi's former boss, sat in a private meeting with oil execs and foreign arms dealers. His smile faded as his security chief entered. "Sir, the boy's body wasn't found." Danladi clenched his fists. "Then we have a problem. That file cannot leak. If even one line hits the internet." He didn't finish. Everyone in the room knew. Back in Ajege, Musa tried to rebuild. He got work helping a street cobbler and started noticing odd flashes of a laptop, a metal drive, a screaming woman. But they vanished before he could hold on to them. Until he crossed paths with Amaka, a feisty investigative blogger struggling to grow her platform. She had found the USB while taking photos for a story on Lagos waste problems. Curious, she plugged it into her laptop. Her eyes widened. Bank codes, signed memos, names of men she saw on TV. Her heart raced. She now held the evidence of Nigeria's biggest political cover-up. That same night, Danladi received a ping. Someone just decrypted one of the files. He enlarged the blurry screenshot from the hacker alert. Not Chidi. A woman. He zoomed in. "Track her. Bring her to me, dead or alive." The rain had stopped in Lagos, but the storm had just begun for Amaka. She didn't sleep that night. Her tiny apartment in Yaba buzzed with danger. The files she found on that USB weren't just damning. They were radioactive. She now knew the names of over a dozen top officials tied to secret bank accounts in Dubai, weapons shipments, and bribes masked as NGO donations. And at the top of the list, Honorable Bala Danladi. The same man who smiled like a saint on Channel's TV. The same man Amaka once tried to expose, only to be silenced, ridiculed, and threatened. Now she had real proof. She stared at the drive. "What do I do with this?" Before she could decide, the power went out. Then she heard it, a click outside her door. Someone was there. She grabbed the drive and slipped it into her bra just as her door burst open. Two masked men rushed in. She screamed, kicked over her table, and ran toward the back door. She barely escaped into the alley, barefoot, heart pounding like war drums. Meanwhile in Ajege, Musa, formerly Chidi, was fixing a torn shoe when he saw her. Amaka. She ran past the stall, bruised, bleeding. Their eyes met for a second. Something stirred in him. A flicker of memory. Her face. A rooftop. Laughter. He didn't know her name, but something inside him whispered, "Follow her." Without thinking, he dropped everything and chased after her. They lost the men chasing her in a crowded market. Panting, she turned to him. You followed me?" He nodded, confused. "Do I know you?" she asked. Musa shook his head slowly, but his eyes said something else. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I just felt I had to help." Amaka hesitated. Then she handed him a dusty handkerchief to wipe his brow. Their hands brushed, another spark. Musa suddenly flinched. A sharp vision hit him. Her voice, a hidden laptop, a whispered warning. Then darkness again. Elsewhere in Ikoyi, Danladi paced like a trapped lion. Her name's Amaka Udi, his security chief said. Small-time blogger, lives in Yaba. We traced the laptop's IP. Danladi lit a cigar, then burned her story, and everyone who reads it. That night, Musa stood outside Amaka's apartment. I think you're in danger, he said. You can hide with me. It's not much, but... She studied him for a moment. Okay, just for tonight? But when they entered his room, Musa noticed something strange. On his wall, hidden beneath a peeling calendar, a photograph. Two men. One was Danladi. The other was him. Musa stared at the photograph on his wall like it had come alive. There he was, smiling beside Honorable Bala Danladi in a crisp suit, standing in front of a private jet. But he couldn't remember the moment. Couldn't even remember being that man. Amaka's voice shook. That's you. He nodded slowly, hands trembling. But how? She asked. You live like you've got nothing. You don't even know your real name. Musa backed away from the photo, heart racing. I don't understand. I've had dreams, flashes. I thought they were fake, but this... He picked up the photo, flipping it over. Written in pen, Chidi Okafor, May 2023, his name, Chidi. And just like that, the dam cracked. Flashes exploded in his head, a USB, a hotel room, a voice recording, the slush file, betrayal, gunshots, then a face. Amaka's, not from today, from the past. She was there. In the tiny room, Amaka paced. You were Danladi's assistant, the one who exposed him. I remember now, it was on Sahara Reporters. They said you disappeared, some thought you were killed, others said you ran. Chidi leaned against the wall, dizzy. I didn't run. I was shot and lost everything. You trusted me once, she said quietly. He looked at her. Do I still? She didn't answer. At the State House in Abuja, Danladi's mood was volcanic. Chidi's alive, he spat. I want him buried. No more games. He sent a black envelope to Colonel Fubara, a brutal fixer with no patience for failure. Silence them both. Tonight. Back in Lagos, Chidi and Amaka agreed to meet a contact, an old hacker friend of Chidi's named Sankanmi, who once built the encryption, now protecting the files. They found him deep in the outskirts of Oshodi, operating from a basement filled with dusty monitors and battery inverters. Sankanmi, Chidi whispered, it's me. The man blinked, then hugged him hard. I thought you were dead, bro. He loaded the USB. God, this is big. This is not just slush funds, oh. There's a list here. Journalists, activists, even foreign embassy contacts, all of them marked for assassination. Amaka covered her mouth. Sankanmi scrolled. Wait, what is this? They leaned in, a folder titled Project Cleanse, Operation Zamfara. Inside, videos of drone strikes, mass graves, government seals. Chidi's face went pale. They'd been hiding war crimes. Suddenly, the lights flickered, generator dead. Then, boom! The front door exploded inward. Gunmen in black charged into the room shouting, bullets flew. Run! Sankanmi screamed. Amaka grabbed the USB. Chidi grabbed her. They escaped through a back tunnel as the building went up in flames. Behind them, Sankanmi was still inside. As they vanished into the night, one of the masked gunmen picked up a half-burned photo. It showed Amaka. In the background, Danladi's son, Tunde Danladi, and he was smiling beside her. They didn't stop running until dawn broke over Ojuledba. Smoke clung to their clothes. Chidi's hands trembled. Amaka's heart pounded. They'd just survived a hit squad. But Sankanmi hadn't. Why would Danladi go this far? Amaka whispered. Chidi clenched his jaw. Because that file doesn't just expose theft, it exposes war crimes. And dead men don't talk. They found shelter at an old uncompleted building in Surulere. No doors, just walls and shadows. Amaka wrapped her arms around herself. There's something I need to tell you. Chidi looked up. I knew Tunde Danladi, she said. Chidi froze. He was my ex. 2 years ago, Amaka had fallen for a charming young entrepreneur who claimed to be into tech and charity. Tunde swept her off her feet with private dinners and weekend trips. He even promised to fund her blog. But it was a lie. I found documents in his drawer, she said. Voice cracking. Things about contracts, fake NGOs, money laundering. When I confronted him, he told me never to speak of it. Said his father's enemies would kill me if I did. She tried to leave him. That same week, her blog was hacked. Her landlord evicted her, sponsors disappeared. Now it made sense. Tunde hadn't just ruined her career. He'd protected a dynasty of blood and corruption. Chidi stared at her. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? I was ashamed, she said. I thought I could forget him. I thought I was free. But she wasn't. Meanwhile in Ikoyi, Tunde stood before his father, fuming. You sent gunmen after Amaka? Danladi scoffed. She's a threat. She's pregnant, Tunde snapped. The room went silent. Danladi rose slowly. With your child? Tunde didn't answer. Danladi slammed his fist on the desk. You fool, she's now the single greatest liability to this family. He picked up the phone. Get me Colonel Fubara. Plan B is in motion. Back in Surulere, Chidi and Amaka made a pact. No more secrets. We leak the Zamfara files first, Chidi said. Then drop the slush fund list. But to who? Amaka asked. The media is compromised, they won't touch it. Chidi nodded. Then we take it directly to the people. Amaka smiled faintly. Through my blog? Through our own channel. Untraceable. Decentralized. Sankanmi taught me how. As they prepped the files, a stranger knocked on the wall beside them. Old. Limping. Wearing a faded military jacket. You're the ones exposing Danladi? Chidi raised his guard. I'm not here to hurt you, the man said. I fought in Zamfara. I saw what they buried. He pulled out a faded flash drive. You're not the only ones with evidence. Back at the Danladi estate, a maid placed a sealed letter on Tunde's desk. He opened it. Inside was a sonogram photo and a note. If anything happens to me, the world will know who the real monsters are. It was signed. Amaka. The old soldier's name was Major Retired Samson Ume. He had seen hell in Zamfara, ordered to clear villages that harbored terrorists. But what he witnessed were mass executions, burned homes, and silenced voices. They buried the truth in shallow graves, he said. And they buried my conscience with it. His flash drive contained drone footage, military memos, even audio of Danladi giving the go-ahead. Chidi clenched his fists. This is enough to take down the entire government. No, Ume said, it's enough to start a war. Be careful what you release and how. As they reviewed the files, Chidi's instincts buzzed. He knew they were being watched. Amaka was nauseous again. Morning sickness? She assumed. But she refused to slow down. She was fighting for more than truth now. She was fighting for her child's future. They decided to release part 1 of the exposé anonymously. Operation Zamfara, the secret war. It dropped like thunder on social media. Bloggers picked it up, activists reposted. Whispers filled market stalls, mosques, and salons. Danladi's PR team scrambled, calling it fake news, but the videos were undeniable. At midnight, a call came in. It was Tunde. I just want to talk, he said. Talk? Amaka hissed. You tried to erase me. No, it wasn't me, it was my father. Chidi snatched the phone. We know everything, Tunde. If you're smart, stay away. But Tunde's next words changed everything. I gave you the photo of you and my father. I'm not your enemy. Click. The line went dead. Chidi stared at Amaka. He's lying. She wasn't so sure. Why would he out his own father? Chidi didn't want to admit it, but maybe Tunde was tired of being a puppet. Still, there were bigger problems. The next day, Colonel Fubara made his move. He didn't send soldiers this time. He sent a mole. Someone from inside. That evening, Chidi's laptop beeped. A signal they never expected. It was from Sankanmi's device. But Sankanmi was dead. Chidi opened the remote feed and watched in horror. It was a live view of their hideout. Someone had planted spyware, every keystroke, every conversation. Monitored. Someone here betrayed us, Chidi said coldly. They all turned to the only new person in the room. Major Samson Ume. The old soldier's eyes widened. I swear, I didn't know. Amaka reached into his bag. Inside, a hidden GPS tracker. Gunfire shattered the window. Down, Chidi screamed. Bullets sprayed the walls as they crawled through the floorboards and out the back. Outside, a black Prado idled. Again. Just like that night months ago, history repeating itself. Except this time, they were ready. Chidi pulled a tear gas canister from his pocket and launched it into the vehicle's windshield. Boom! They vanished into the smoke. Inside the Prado, as the flames licked the dashboard, a laptop buzzed. It was linked to a private server in Aso Rock Presidential Villa. A new message blinked on the screen. Proceed to Phase 2. Make it look like a terrorist attack. The public must never find out the truth. And the message was signed. The President. The flames from the Prado lit up the Lagos night as Chidi and Amaka vanished into the chaos. Their safe house was compromised. The system had eyes everywhere, in the streets, in cyberspace, and even in their own circle. No one could be trusted now. They fled to Makoko, hiding in the floating slums where no one dared search. The smell of fish and fuel masked their trail. There, among the forgotten, Chidi found clarity. The problem wasn't just Danladi, it was the entire system. And now, the president himself. In a cramped wooden shack, they huddled with Amaka's laptop and the 3 drives they now possessed. Chidi's original slush fund evidence, Sunkanmi's drone footage, Ume's audio files, each one damning. But now there was one final key to unlocking it all. The master password to the classified presidential server. Only one person had it. Tunde Danladi. Amaka didn't want to call him. Chidi was against it, but they had no choice. That night, she sent one message. If you're not like your father, prove it. Meet me at dawn. They waited at Freedom Park under heavy rain. At 6:12 a.m., Tunde arrived, alone, wearing a hoodie, hands visible. Amaka stepped forward, heart pounding. Why are you helping us? Tunde's voice was low. Because I'm not a monster, and because I saw what happened in Zamfara with my own eyes. My father threatened to disown me if I ever spoke of it. Chidi approached slowly. And the password? Tunde looked him in the eye. I give it to you. I signed my own death certificate. Chidi didn't blink. Then help us bring all of them down. An hour later, in a hidden cybercafe run by former activists, Tunde typed it in. Access granted. The files spilled open like blood from a wound. Secret meetings, signed orders, journalists murdered, whistleblowers silenced. Even a confession video, the president himself in a closed-door briefing. We cleanse the North to secure the vote. Collateral damage is unfortunate but necessary. Amaka gasped. There it was. The proof. Then the screen went black. Trace detected. We've been found, Chidi shouted. In seconds they pulled the hard drives, smashed the router, and fled. Outside, vans were closing in. They split. Chidi ran through Marina, blending with the bus crowd. Amaka and Tunde vanished into Balogun Market. The file was still intact, but now there was a manhunt. The government called it Operation Purge. They claimed a terrorist cell was planning a cyber attack on national security. Chidi's face was now on every news channel. Amaka's photo tagged as a fugitive influencer. And Tunde? Missing. At the presidential villa, the president received a private message, encrypted. From an anonymous source, it read, We have the truth, and we're going live in 48 hours. Attached was a preview. His own face, his own voice, his own crime. 48 hours. That was all they had. Chidi, Amaka, and a small circle of rogue activists camped inside an abandoned radio station on the outskirts of Ibadan. The final evidence, the president's confession, the war crimes, the slush funds, was now compressed and secured on 5 separate servers across Africa. If one was destroyed, 4 more would survive. But danger was closing in. Amaka was 8 weeks pregnant and tired. Tunde had vanished after the last raid. The streets were swarming with plainclothes operatives. The final upload had to be live. Unstoppable. Back in Abuja, panic gripped the villa. The president canceled his public appearances. Danladi ordered digital firewalls erected across the country. Journalists were arrested. Data servers mysteriously caught fire. Still, the leak crept like a virus. Hashtags trended. Buried hearts, justice for Zamfara exposed them all. One by one, local blogs and underground stations broadcast pieces of the truth. But Chidi wasn't satisfied with pieces. He wanted it all. In one undeniable, unforgettable shot. June 12, Nigeria's Democracy Day. At 7:58 a.m., a massive signal override cut into every major television, radio, and online broadcast. The screen flickered. Then, Chidi's face. Behind him, the old Nigerian flag waved gently. This is not fake news, he said. This is what they never wanted you to know. One by one he revealed. A video of mass graves in Zamfara. A signed order with Danladi's signature authorizing cleansing. The president's full video confession. Let the world decide, Chidi said. Not in silence but in truth. Then he disappeared off screen. Reactions erupted like wildfire. Students marched, military officers resigned, crowds filled Lagos, Abuja, and Kano, chanting justice for the buried. Danladi fled the country within 24 hours. The president appeared on NTA claiming the footage was deep-faked. But even his inner circle didn't believe him. A warrant was issued for his arrest. And by evening, the International Court in The Hague opened a case file labeled Burying Hearts, the Nigeria Tapes. But not all stories end in cheers. 3 days later, Amaka stood at the beach in Badagry, holding a small envelope. Inside was a sonogram and a letter from Tunde. I chose to vanish, not because I'm weak, but because I was born into evil. Let our child be born free from it. She cried for the man he almost became. Chidi didn't return to public life. He changed his name again, moved to a quiet town, started a center for whistleblowers and forgotten voices. But every year, on June 12th, a new voice speaks from an unknown station, reminding Nigerians they buried the truth, but it grew roots. If stories of betrayal, power, and buried truth keep you on the edge, then don't just watch, join the fight for justice. Hit that like button, subscribe for more untold truths, and comment below. Was justice truly served, or is this just the beginning?